We're here with Martha, and she's going to show us a level 2, 3 strength workout for our legs. So we'll start with a warm-up of some squats. So Martha will be breathing in to squat down, and then exhaling to come up. Oh, she's added in a calf raise for a little bit of variety. Inhaling through her squat, even weight distribution through her feet. A nice neutral ankle as she does her calf raise. She could keep a little bit more length in the back of the neck by a small chin tuck. Working through about 10 or so. Good, and resting after this one. Let's have Martha step back to the back of her mat and she can demonstrate some forward stepping lunges. So she's stepping forward, she's added in an arm lift to work on her rib cage control. Notice that her pelvis stays nice and neutral and upright. It doesn't tilt forward as she steps into her lunge. She looks like she's having a lot of fun. The step forward is a soft heel landing and a good weight transfer, and that front knee you can notice is not translating forward over her foot. Let's try one more each side. So at home you could do about 10 each side, alternating, making sure to keep a smooth breathing pattern. Good, let's take a little rest there. And we'll step forward just to change our lunge. So we're coming to the front of the mat this time. It'll be a longer stride back, and she's added in that arm lift with the thumbs up to work her postural muscles in her lower trapezius. She's inhaling as she steps back and using the strength of her exhale to come back up to standing. You can see as she's lunging, she's got a long spine right from the crown of her head out through that back heel. And the pelvis is doing a great job of staying in neutral. Let's try one more each side. So similar to the previous set, working through about 10 each side, alternating. And she can relax, just relaxing one knee and then the other, just to give the hips a moment. Now we'll add a bit of depth to our squat, so working through a ski squat where we're squatting down a little bit lower, so feet or hip distance are a little bit wider apart. Inhaling as we sink down into our squat, lifting the arms against gravity. Martha's decided to hold her squat, so she's working on the endurance of her legs and her glutes, and she's going to make sure she keeps some good contact through her heels to keep the glute engagement. A nice long neutral spine, and she can draw on the abdominals just a little bit to help support her here. She's focused and strong. Oh, she took a little break. Excellent. So ski squats can be done with movement, or we could use them as a hold for a little bit more of endurance. So notice with this type of squat, her chest is more parallel with the ground than the one that we warmed up with. Last one. Good. Let's finish with our scale, so our balance pose. And we can do that in freestanding. So we're stepping one leg long, resting at a toe touch. And as she lifts that back leg, she can lift the arms up and keeping a long line through her spine and that lifted leg. Notice that the hips are level, so she hasn't rotated up. One common thing that we'll do is rotate that lifted hip up a little bit too much, creating rotation through the spine and losing our alignment. So here Martha's focused on keeping those front two bones of the pelvis down. Her standing leg is soft but strong, and that lifting glute's really working. Keeping some weight in our standing heel. And she's holding about 10 seconds and then can ease out of that side with control. Resetting. Setting up for the other side. Most of us have a side that's a little more stable than the other. So you can see Martha's right hip likes to come up a tiny bit, so she's going to focus hard just to keep the pelvis level. Rolling in the ribs so she has good abdominal control. Lengthening out through the ball of the foot of her lifted leg. and keeping a little bit of load in her standing heel. So nice long inhale, strong exhale to support her. Let's try 2 more breaths. Reaching. Excellent, and she'll ease out with control. That exercise can also be done at the wall, so if you have any limitations with balance or just need a little bit more support. So here again, Martha's holding. She's working on keeping the pelvis in line, and you always have the option to add in a little bit of movement at the hip. So Martha's extending to lift her hip and lower to a toe touch. Everything else is strong and stable. Good. Trying to limit our rotation in our low back and relying on the wall as little as possible, so lightening that touch through the fingertips. And she'll try 2 more. Oh, she finished. Good. Let's add in a little bit of spine mobility just to finish. So we can breathe in and rise up into our calf raise. And then exhale, arms lower all the way down. We find a little tuck of our chin. And just gently rolling through the spine, 1 vertebrae at a time. Inhaling to relax into our forward fold. And exhaling to build the spine back up. Notice how the pelvis comes up first. She's building up through the low back, her mid back. Head and neck come up and the shoulders soften down. Let's try 2 more. Long reach. Arms come all the way down before she starts to roll, so she's relaxing any extra tension in the head, neck, and shoulders. Big breath in at the bottom. And then using the strength of her exhale to press through her heels and roll the spine back up. Let's try 1 more. This will transition Martha down to her mat. So this is a great exercise to move from standing down into 4-point or hands and knees. Excellent. And from here, you can always continue with a little bit of mat work. But that concludes our standing series. Great job, Martha.